like we're talking to an audience.
All right.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Believers of Truth Health and Wellness Seminar.
Good afternoon. The title of our presentation today is Charcoal, Comfrey, and other herb health. Let us have a word of prayer. Before we have prayer, we're going to read the scripture, which is coming from 3 John 3:2. Beloved, I wish above all things that thou may prosper and be in health, and even as thy soul prospers. Shall we bow our heads? I'm just going to do the call. Shall we bow our heads? Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to come before you, Lord, to present it to people what we have now, Lord, and to get rid of most of our illness, Father, because it comes from the way we eat and the things that we do, Father. Help us to learn and to do it. In your name we do pray. Amen.
Amen. I'd like to read something from Ministry of Healing, page 127. The only hope of better things is in the education of the people and right principles. Let physicians teach the people the restorative power is not in drugs but in nature. Disease is an effort of nature to free the system from conditions that result as a violation of the laws of health. In case of sickness, the cause should be ascertained. Unhealthy conditions should be changed. Wrong habits corrected. Then nature is to be assisted in her effort to expel impurities and to reestablish the right conditions in the system. And at this point, we want to make a disclaimer. We are not doctors. We are only interested in health. We suggest that you take the information today as something that you can use to further be informed as to what you should do for your health and for your body. Or seek your physician first for any information that you need for your body, and we just pray that what information you get can be used and it will be of service to you. All right, and for the first 30 minutes of our hour, we will cover the amazing benefits of charcoal, comfrey, and other herbals for health. The second part of our presentation, we're going to revisit the emergency go bag. The go bag is something I've been working on for the last 10 years. So as the instructor told his men when they jumped out of the airplane for the first time, he said, and when you land, pack your own bag. Pack your own chute. So I'm going to be giving you information on what I have in my emergency cargo bag. Don't feel that you have to have everything in yours that I have in mine. Just put in there what you need for yourself.
Rose, I see that you got on your board about charcoal.
Yes, charcoal is good for an antidote, and it's also good for a lot of other things. Let me tell you a story about charcoal that I remember. I lived in the country, and I had a friend who lived about a half a mile down the road from me, and for some reason, a bee flew in her window and she got stung. She was highly allergic to bee stings. And I said, Carol, let me run home and get some charcoal. And meanwhile, she dialed 911 because she needed to get the epi shot in a hurry because she was so highly allergic to bee sting. Well, when I got back, her hand was starting to swell. I put the charcoal in a glove, and she put her hand in the glove. And by the time the EMS got there, she was not having a reaction, and she did not have to go to the hospital. The charcoal brought it down. So I know that worked, charcoal worked for that.
Now, you're talking about the charcoal that people use on the barbecue grill?
Oh, no. We're not talking about that at all. We're talking about activated charcoal. This is activated charcoal. Let me show you some charcoal that I made from my wood stove. Now, this is charcoal that I made from my wood stove. You see the little chunks there. I got that from my wood stove. And then after I had that there, then I put it in my blender and I spun it down, and then I have this charcoal here. And that is, I kind of made my own activated charcoal. And also, charcoal cases to carry container like that.
Now, how much is recommended dose?
Well, the recommended dose for charcoal is 1 tablespoon stirred into 1 glass of water. Now let me demonstrate here. Now this is some charcoal here, and I'm going to go on and put a teaspoon. I'm not going to take a tablespoon. And I'm going to add some water to it. It's best to put the charcoal in first because it just kind of like explodes if you do it the other way. And now I have my water here. Just going to pour it in. And give it a little stir. Charcoal is good for colic in babies, but you wouldn't give them this. You would let it settle to the bottom so that they would be drinking just the top of the slurry from the...
I understand that charcoal is good for combating all kinds of odors, such as odors in air and water.
Absolutely. Charcoal is also useful in absorbing odors from the refrigerator, from the oven, from dressers, from drawers, and also rancid odors.
It has been used to remove odors from cats, skin, ulcers, and gastrointestinal gas.
Yes, it has. People who have had gas pains, they have drank charcoal, and they have got a lot of relief from charcoal. And at this time, I just want to, for everyone here, would you please give them one of these charcoal books? And I want to draw your attention to the website at the top. CharcoalRemedies.com. CharcoalRemedies.com is the one who is producing this little book that you have called Charcoal God's Humble Doctor. Now, CharcoalRemedies.com is the name of the website. CharcoalRemedies.com is the name of the book. And so in what you have here is a little booklet that is a free PDF download, and I was able to get these copies made this morning. So we're going to look through this really quickly, and let's see what charcoal really can do. It's called Charcoal God's Humble Doctor. Most people know the station to purify water and air so that it can be used to clear submarines that travel for months under the water in the deepest oceans. How many people know charcoal is also used to treat sickness? Yes, charcoal is used in charcoal is used in kidney and liver dialysis machines in hospitals to purify the blood when the kidneys and liver are sick and not functioning properly. Charcoal works to prevent cerebral malaria. Charcoal is used in very expensive wound dressings to stop the spread of infections when antibiotics will not work. When people take drugs and become sick, charcoal is used to reverse the drug poisoning. And I want to explain something about the way it absorbs. If you have a sponge and the sponge kind of like just draws away. Let's go on to the next page. Poison antidote. Would charcoal also work for poisonous insect bites, or poisonous snake bites, or poisonous plants? Yes, it will. If you have charcoal remedy to use in your first aid box, have you prepared charcoal powder ready to use in an emergency? If you cannot purchase charcoal powder from a drugstore, how do you prepare your own charcoal powder? And I think this is going to go into what I just said about my charcoal I got from my wood stove. But there are certain charcoals that you want to use, like hardwood eucalyptus from a eucalyptus tree, or coconut shell, or bamboo. Number 2, after you do that, take the charcoal out of the fire while it's sterile, that's best, and blow off any ashes on the charcoal. If the charcoal has been stored in a sack, then wash the pieces of charcoal with warm water to remove any filth. Number 3, when the lumps of charcoal are dry, crush them to a very fine powder, and that's what I showed you in this. I put it in my blender and crushed it. This can be very messy, and it's best to do this outside. If you have electricity or an electric blender, you can grind to small pieces a little at a time. If you have a mortar, then you can pound your charcoal lumps easily. Then you take the charcoal powder and pass it through a flour sifter. The fine charcoal powder can be pounded again to make it even finer, and then pass the powder through a very fine flour sifter. And number 5, put the very fine charcoal powder in a glass or plastic jar that has been washed with boiled water. Place the lid on tightly on the jar and store it ready for an emergency. The emergency uses for charcoal. And we're going to talk about the emergency uses for charcoal in our go bag. And it is a go bag that everyone should have in their car. emergency. Do you have a book? Okay. Okay, some other emergency uses of charcoal. There have been many diseases that cause severe diarrhea and vomiting. First, pour some boiled water into a glass a while ago, and it's still a little too thick for me to drink. I end up with a black smile. But anyway, we'll just go on. Charcoal powder mixes more easily in hot water. Then fill the cup the rest of the way with boiled water. After it has cooled, drink the entire cup of charcoal water. It will have no taste or smell, but it will feel gritty in the mouth. Be sure to rinse your mouth after drinking the charcoal water, or you will surprise people with your black teeth, black tongue, and black smile. As charcoal travels through the stomach and bowels, it will capture and neutralize poisons. Charcoal is not absorbed by the body and does not pass into the bloodstream. It travels from the mouth through the bowels and is eliminated from the body at the other end with the poisons. This is also a very good treatment for someone who has eaten spoiled food that causes food poisoning. Even some kind of monkeys have learned if they eat charcoal after eating poisonous plants, the charcoal will protect them from getting sick and vomiting. You can see how important it is to have charcoal prepared for emergencies before it happens. Okay, we're going to stop there with the charcoal, and you can keep this book and read it at your leisure. And right now we're going to go on with our next presentation, and that is on comfrey. We're going to talk about comfrey a little bit, and I think that we have some handouts for comfrey. This is a comfrey plant that I have growing in my yard, this plant here. It looked a little wilty because it doesn't have a root to it. And what I did was I pulled the comfrey up and stuck it in some water. This is dried comfrey. Dried this comfrey in my car. I dried it in the car. I just put a cardboard box in the car, and I just put the fresh comfrey leaves in the car, and in about 2 days in the trunk of my car, it had dried. So you can dry the comfrey. Okay, what are you going to do with the comfrey after it dries? It's possible that you can make a salve out of it. And this is what I did with that dry comfrey. I made a comfrey salve. And it's good for bee stings, it's good for your face. You can use it in your hair. And also this extra comfrey that I made, it has 160,000 international units of cayenne. It's hot. Keep it out of reach of children, but this is what you can use with comfrey. And at this time, we're going to look at a video, an 8-minute video, comfrey salve and how to make it, and it's all the uses for comfrey. And it's from Health and Homestead. That's another website up there that I would like for you to make note of and probably go there. He has a lot of different videos on amazing things that you can use that's right in nature. So we're going to run that now.
One of the most important herbs that you want to grow in your herb garden. It is one of the most incredible natural remedies according to the evidence-based scientific literature. And this is the plant called comfrey. We're going to show you in this video how to make a comfrey salve that may help you with various aches and pains, or those around you who may be a help to other people who may be in need. Hey everybody, Chad Cruiser here with Health and Homestead. Its Latin name means I grow together. This is something that has been used to grow bones back together. I have another video on this where I go deep in detail into the scientific literature. Research has been done in the evidence-based, peer-reviewed literature that looks at the effect of comfrey root on various different diseases. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But I'm going to share with you just one study to give you an idea of how potent and powerful this herb can be. A study was performed looking at the effect of comfrey root cream versus a pharmaceutical gel on ankle sprains. After 7 days, there was statistically significant increased benefit in the comfrey group compared to those taking the pharmaceutical medication. and the patients and the doctors rated the efficiency of the comfrey cream better than the pharmaceutical medication. Just this morning, literally just this morning, a friend of ours had written, now they wrote last night, we didn't catch the text, and they said, hey, I just hurt my rotator cuff. Do you think it would work to use that cream that you had given me? Because we believe in this so much that we give it out to friends. We didn't get to return the text, but our friend wrote us back this morning. She said, I used it, my arm is feeling so much better. And so I absolutely believe in this based on people's personal experiences, but also because of the peer-reviewed literature. Some people use the root, sometimes they use the leaves, so we're going to be using the leaves in this particular situation. What we've done here, we've taken some of the leaves, we've dried it in a dehydrator. You could simply hang them up, and then you can either blend them or you can use a mortar and pestle to break that up so that you end up having a comfrey powder.
We have seen people come with testimonies of help with their arthritis, their carpal tunnel, also bone spurs, torn rotator cuffs, and sprains and bruises, back pain, pinched nerves, and a lot of different problems with bones and joints. We grow this comfrey and I harvest it and hang it out in the line and I blend it up. One time we were running a little bit low, so we wanted to buy some comfreys to keep our supply going. We got it in the mail and we opened it up. It was supposed to be organic, high quality comfrey leaves, but when we opened it and looked at it, it was brown colored, it had parts of other plants in it, and so we did not feel right putting that in our salves and saying that it would help people when we weren't sure because it had other plants and who knows what in it. So we still grow our own comfrey and harvest it to ensure that top quality comfrey goes into our salves. The first thing we do in making comfrey salve is we get 1 ounce of beeswax. We put it in a glass container. Then we use light tasting or classic olive oil. And we fill it up to the 1 cup mark. Then we take this and we put it in some boiling water and melt the beeswax. Now that our mixture is melted, we can take this out, put it right here, and we'll measure out our comfrey powder. We need 0.1 ounce. 0.1 ounce. We will put 0.1 ounce comfrey powder into our olive oil beeswax mixture and stir it in. Turns a really nice green color. Once it's all mixed up, I pour it into my little jars here. Now we will let this cool. It depends on the temperature of the air to say how long it'll take to harden. But you'll see it, it's like a dark green color and it will be light and solidified when it's ready to use. There was a lady who wrote us and said that she had frostbite in her feet really bad 20 years before, and there was still recurring pain that she didn't know how to get rid of. So she ordered some of my comfrey salve. I shipped it to her, and she had regularly put it on and told us that the pain had left and she had been relieved after 20 years of pain. One Wednesday night, my dad and I were at a Bible study, group Bible study at the church, and a lady was sharing with us that her husband was having a lot of pain. He was in a wheelchair, he could not walk, and his pain medications just weren't working anymore. So I had some of this comfrey salve in my bag, so we gave it to her and told her to put it on her husband's hip 3 times a day. So she did that. Then in a few days we saw her again. We asked how he was doing. She said that he had stood up for the first time in 2 months. So we were pretty excited, but we told her keep putting it on 3 times a day. A week later we saw that and he was walking. We saw him walking kind of weak, but he was still doing it. And then a week and a half later, we saw him again, and he was confidently walking, and he has not needed to go in a wheelchair since. Another exciting testimony is of a man who told me that he had heard a little bit of the plant comfrey. And so I showed him, I had comfrey salve on my table, and so he was excited to buy some and try it out. Next time I saw him, it was a few months later. He told me that he had been regularly putting comfrey salve on his legs where he had varicose vein problems and that he was going to need surgery for. But he told me that the comfrey salve had taken his varicose veins and shrunken them so he did not need surgery anymore and there was no pain left. We were at a conference and I had displayed all my different salves and other things, and the person next to us, who had also his booth, had a sprained ankle. And he had to stand there, so the pain was getting kind of bad, so he had to sit down most of the time. Well, he came over and bought some comfrey salve from me, and he told us later that day that his ankle was not hurting so bad, so he could stand at his booth and walk, and he was very blessed. This is something that just happened within the last week. Our neighbor came up and he told us that he had a torn cartilage in his knee. So we gave him some comfrey salve, and within 24 hours his cousin was at our door asking for some comfrey salve for her mother because her cousin had been doing so much better within 24 hours.
So if you like this video, please hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notifications, share a comment down below. God bless and have a fantastic day.
Amen.
Is those steps for the comfrey on here? Did she say like those 3? She only mentioned 3 things. Oh, did you get your thing?
Wonderful herb, isn't it?
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Yes, yes.
Oh yes.
There is some discussion about,
I'm gonna need 3 of those.
pardon?
I need 3 of those.
Okay, the comfrey is such a wonderful herb. Now, there is some discussion about taking it internally, and this is what I'm saying. Do your own research. In the book, in the picture of the book at the bottom of the display is the medical encyclopedia. And on your handout that you have on comfrey, it also says that you can use it internally. Comfrey is excellent for dysentery, one of the best for internal bleeding, excellent for coughs, cholera, ulcerated bowel, stomach, and lungs. It helps the pancreas in regulating blood sugar level. It helps relieve irritations associated with the gallbladder, kidneys, small intestines, and stomach. It helps promote the secretions of pepsin, and it also a general aid to the digestion. Comfrey has the highest content of mucilus of any of the herbs. Its immune properties, especially of the root, have been used to treat lung troubles and coughs. It is used for anemia, arthritis, asthma, internal bleeding, as a blood purifier, bronchitis, calcium deficiency, colitis, coughs, diarrhea, dysentery, emphysema, and gallbladder inflammation. I do use comfrey in my smoothie. I throw about 3 leaves in there with my green smoothie drink in the morning. And I haven't had any effect from it. I think it's helping me. So use it at your own discretion and also do your own research. And now we're going to talk about emergency go bag. I think we're going to use this table, Sister Griffin, so we're going to need to move the comfrey plants down. But before we get there, we're going to talk about how we can be prepared for what's coming. We know that normal is not coming back. We know that. Things are not going to get back to normal. So we have to decide how we're going to be prepared. And as much information that we can get, it's good for us to just get it and not rely on the government to take care of us. We're going to need to take care of ourselves. About 3 or 4 years ago, I wrote this little booklet. It's called End Time Mountain Survival, a Guide to Finding Shelter, Water, and Food, Part 1 and Part 2. And I want to share that with you, along with the emergency go bag and the things that you need to have in it. Now, there's going to be 2 different go bags that you're going to be using. One for if you'll have to shelter at home, and one if you have to run. Okay, let me share this with you and Sister Griffin. Sister Griffin, I think I'm going to have some black teeth if I drink this, so I'm going to drink it later. I think I'm going to need something on that board, yes.
Okay.
All right. Now, we know that the time is not distant when we will have to be forced to seek refuge in desolate and solitary places. As the siege of Rome armies was assigned for flight for the Judean Christians, so the assumption of power on the part of our nation and a decree enforcing the papal Sabbath will be a warning to us. It will then be time to leave the large cities preparatory to leaving the smaller ones for retired homes in the secluded places in the mountains. Before we get there, there's going to be a time when we're going to have to be on our own as to being able to take care of ourselves. So at this time, we're going to show, Sister Griffin has her emergency go bag, I have mine, and we're going to go through it. Now, please remember, when you pack your own bag, it's not exactly what we have in ours. You know what you need in your bag. So don't feel overwhelmed with all the things that we have in our bag. Okay, Sister Griffin, you want to bring your bag around and just sit it on the table. It's a little bit heavy because we kind of went overboard with our last meeting. How many here have their bag? You still have your bag? Okay. Okay. Just
I have a bag with a missionary, but it's not an
emergency.
emergency.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Now, will you put your let's see, your sleeping bag. You have a sleeping bag? Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So this bag, is this for home or on the go?
This is for home.
This is the home bag.
This is the home bag. And we're going to talk about the one that you would use if you want to run. God's faithful people, especially those who will be in the forefront of the battle, will be in the rocks, while others who are worldly-minded, nominal Christians will be going about their daily business, and the faithful will be demonized and locked upon as right-wing lunatics. But they alone have the true eternal perspective of the great controversy and what's really happening. Now, would you please put my go back up on there too? God's people, before they realize they will be forced to flee to the most desolate places in the rocks and mountains. But how will it be for God's people? Will they be prepared when they have to leave the soft pews in their churches, their fine homes, their fine cars, gadgets of all kinds, or will they even go? If we do not take our perspective from God, we will never be in the mountains. We won't have the faith that is necessary to be there. We will be part of the vast ecumenical crowd worshiping in their churches in the end of time, yet persecuting the faithful ones in the rocks, in the mountains. And I want to draw your attention to the steps of Christ, to the steps to Christ at the top. We need to have a firm relationship with Jesus, or we won't be able to go. We won't be settled in our minds that we will not take whatever is mandated. We will not go into the 15-minute cities and be designated as practically slaves because we can't get out. We want to be as independent as we can be. So when that time comes, we won't be concerned about what we're leaving behind, because we're going to stand for truth and we're not going to compromise. But what kind of adjustment will it be for them if they have never been there before? What kind of shock to their system? Truly, faith will be necessary to make all the adjustments if we are one of God's people in the last days. We will need the courage of a hero and the faith of martyrs. But with 10% skill, 5% creativity, and 85% knowledge, we can survive. And I want to draw your attention to that book, You Can Survive by Jerry Franklin. It has a wealth of information for you in events of the last days. And if you can get that copy of that book, it will be well worth the money to invest in that book. I've been through it several times. So you can survive. Okay, now we're going to go through the first go bag. This one is the one that you would have in your car in case of emergency. And if you can think, this is not just about me. I had this go bag, not this one, but the contents, some of the contents in it for the last 10 years. And it's been in my car, but it has helped other people. On one occasion, someone asked me, do you have anything that can help a diabetic whose blood sugar has dropped? Yes, I had something in there. Do you have anything in the, someone stuck a needle, was a little bit bigger than a needle through that finger, and I couldn't get it out, and with prayer, they were able to pull that thing out by themselves, but we had to put something on there, and it was in the go bag. Another occasion, a family was moving into an apartment, and of course, when you move into an apartment, everybody's working in the apartment, and there's nothing already there. There's no shower curtain, there's no toilet tissue and anything. But as you will see, you have toilet tissue in your go bag. You have things not just for yourself, you have things that you have in there for other people. So we're going to go through it, and if you have any questions, hold them for the last, and we're going to see just exactly what we have in our go bag. Sister Griffin, if you'll get a box, I think we're just going to put the things in the box. And an empty box, that's great. Okay. You want to know what these are? You know what they are? Kindling? No, not exactly. Okay. It's a stick that I split. This is for getting water out of a tree. There are going to be times when you're going to be running and you need water. There are certain trees that you can get water out of. Birch, fir, maple, sycamore. With your handy dandy knife, gonna make a hole in the tree. On an angle, you're gonna stick the stick in the hole. It's not gonna run like a faucet. You might get a cup of water in 2 hours, but it's water out of a tree. These are some things that would be nice to know. Moving on. Of course, you're going to have something to collect the water in. And we did say that we have the, Sister Griffin, I'm going to give you these, and you just put them in the box. We have room on the table. Which one?
Plastic bag you just put down.
Oh, the plastic bag?
No,
Oh, this one?
No.
The white bag. She wants the toilet tissue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Let's see it again. See, I smashed it because you need to have room to.
Okay. So you didn't show us, you just said.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. A plastic garbage bag, good for retaining heat. If you're in a situation and you want to stay warm, split it over and put it around you. And have heat. We're going to save that for another time. I'm going to tell you what that is. Cordage. You need cordage, but you might have to tie something down.
Cordage?
Cordage, just cord.
Cool.
Cordage. And this, ladies, is a go girl. Are you familiar with these? Okay. It's called a FUD, a feminine urinary device. You might be in a place where the toilets are just not clean, and ladies can stand up and they can go to the bathroom with the go girl.
You gonna tell us where we can get things like that?
Sure, I got that from Walmart in the camping section of the store. I just threw in this for a little first aid kit. Of course, you're gonna have your plastic gloves, Band-Aid, alcohol swabs, hand sanitizer, 4x4s, And this is especially good in case of injury. This is called a wound seal. It stops bleeding instantly. You just open it up, you put it on the wound, and it almost acts like a glue that's closest to the wound.
Was that from the campus?
Yeah, you can find that there too. I have in here a cup, and it has lentils, rice, and split peas. This cup can be used to sterilize water and also to cook in. And I have cooked in this cup. Looks a little used, but it has been used for in the cup, and also I'm going to demonstrate what you're going to cook it on. This is a folding shovel. You need it for covering waste, you know, get down 6 inches and cover your waste with that.
Also, you need a lot of stuff.
Dig a hole, too.
You dig a hole. Yes, you dig a hole. You might be in a situation where you need hand warmers and toe warmers. More cordage. This happens to be a saw where you can cut logs. And it actually works. One person on one side of the tree, one person on the other side of the tree. You cut that branch off and use it to build a fire. You never know where you're going to need a mask, so the mask is there. This is a little mini sewing kit. It has a thread, needle thread, everything. Like I said, you know, you decide what you need in your bag. A bar of soap.
Is that a little case you got there? Or is it just the bars?
Just a bar of soap.
Oh, okay.
And I have cayenne pepper in 2 capsules. If you have cold feet, just open the capsule and sip a little cayenne pepper in your shoe, and it will warm your feet. Don't put too much in, or it will make it too hot. You never know where you're going to be. You might need gloves. So this is just a pair of gloves. Toothbrush and toothpaste. Cayenne and charcoal. Never know when you need charcoal. You might not be able to build a fire. Someone running with you might be sick. Just give them some charcoal. So you have your supply of charcoal and cayenne. And of course, you have your cleaning wipes. You don't have to have this much, but I just threw that in there. Salt. I was told that salt, not only just the sea salt, but salt is a good thing to barter with, because a lot of people just can't eat without the food seasoning. They say you should have a supply of salt, just in case, even in your home, just have extra salt. A rain poncho. You might be caught in the rain, never know what will happen. And these are emergency this is an emergency sleeping bag. And this is something that you can wrap yourself in, because the reflection of the color will keep you warm. So this is good to have. Let's say you need some water. You can't get it out of the tree, but there is a running stream. But you don't know. You may get guardian or some other things that's coming down the mountain. So this is called a life straw. And with the life straw, actually all the little children, some children in Africa, they do have this life straw. So they just open it up. You can see the holes of filter in there. You put it in the water, and with this, just pop it off. And as opposed to filter, 99.9% of the impurities out of the water, and it's safe to drink.
The life straw? Or you just suck it up through it?
Right. It's you can get this at Walmart.
Called life straw.
It's called a life straw.
Mm-hmm.
Knives, forks, and spoons. I know you've seen this advertised on TV. It's a long sleeping bag. A 6-foot man can sleep in it and he keeps them warm. This is a sleeping bag. It just folds up and is put into this little container there. Some kind of long sleeve clothing. A long sleeve shirt of some kind. My grandfather was never sick. Why? Because he wore long handled underwear 365 days a year. He was accustomed to wearing the long sleeves along his legs. Your body will get accustomed to that. Think about the people who drive motorcycles across the desert. What do they have on? It's hot in the desert. Long sleeves.
Think about the people that's covered up from head to toe in these hot
Climates.
Yeah.
They wear long sleeves. So you can get used to that. Socks. I'm not going to show this, but for ladies who are still needing these, you know what they could be. Okay. And you also need a pocket Bible. Now, don't throw away your dry lint. Dry lint is good fire starters. This dry lint has been coated with Vaseline. You never know when you might need to start a fire. So you take the dry lint, put Vaseline on it, and spread a match to it, and immediately you got a fire starter. Otherwise, you would need to find little pieces of twigs. It was a long time before I learned to make a fire. I just put the big stuff on, but you got to get the little tiny pieces of twig, and that's what starts the fire. Then you add a little bit bigger, a little larger and larger, and finally you got that big fire going. Sister Debbie's nodding her head. I guess you know how to start a fire.
Oh, yeah.
Amen.
Love starting a fire.
Okay. Just for comfort, I threw in one of these blow-up pillows. You know, just something for comfort. And of course, everyone needs to have a flashlight. That works. Moving on, in case of injury, something for an injured ankle or twisted, something that's you can have that will support that injury. And in the pockets of this, I have just some other things that will fit in here. Matches, the comfrey salve, a pen for leaving notes, a cigarette lighter with duct tape around it. And let's see what I have on the other side. I don't know how long our money will be in use, whether we're going to go to the, what do you call it, digital currency? But you do need to have some money that you carry along with you. You never know, you might be able to barter with something, okay? And this is just some extra cloth for starting fires. We're almost done. Another plastic bag, more cordage, and I think that's it. So it's a lot in this bag, but like I say, pack your own bag, and you know what you need. Some people might need to put their medicine in there, or you never know when you will have to use this emergency cargo bag. I do not have in the bag water, or I don't have enough food, but you can, decide that. You have a question? Yes, ma'am.
The importance of having to go back in your car, people need to realize, because as we know in the past, where weather has people are on a highway,
Amen.
spending the night in the car with children. So
Yes.
people really, we're in a time where we need to really realize how important it is to have our own personal to go bag in the car, because you never know when you can't get even off the highway
Right.
for days.
That's right. That's right. Sister Griffin, will you please give me that bag, that jar on hardtack? This is something that wouldn't fit in my bag. It doesn't have to be in this jar, but this is hardtack. Hardtack has been used for years. I mean, centuries. The Army, Navy use hardtack. It's a food that can be used. It stays last for years. I had made a heart attack some years ago, and it was fine. It is hard. Don't think of this as a cracker. You use this in a soup, as a teething biscuit for her baby. I remember when I brought it the last time, Brother Dennis's baby just gnawed on it, and he had a time for that hot piece of heart attack. But it's very easy to make. If you think of 3, 2, 1, 3 cups of whole wheat flour, 2 teaspoons of pink salt, and 1 cup of water. I'm going to say it again. 3 cups of whole wheat flour, 2 teaspoons of pink salt or sea salt, and 1 cup of water. You're going to mix that together, and it's going to come into a ball, and it's going to be really tight. And you roll it out to a 1/2 inch. Make sure you stick holes in them. I see then you can see the holes. You have to stick holes in it so you can get some air, and just bake it. And this heart attack I baked about a month ago, and it's good. It's going to be good for about 10 years. But that's something that you won't go hungry eating a heart attack.
You said 3,
2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3 cups of whole wheat flour, 2 teaspoons of pink salt or sea salt, and 1 cup of water. And you bake it until it's hard. At 350 degrees until it's brown and crusty, and flip it once. That's your heart attack. Okay, Sister Griffin, do you have anything in your bag that I don't have in mine?
Yeah, 'cause that's an awful big bag.
because you had it.
Yes,
But that's the home bag.
that's a home bag.
That's the home bag.
Right.
The bigger one, the home bag.
So that's the car bag.
This is my car bag.
That's her to-go bag.
That's her car bag. This is my car bag.
About 2 years. And,
Yeah, that's her to-go bag.
Yes, that's what they call that.
but I need to clean it out because it's so big.
So it's not your home bag, it's when you go to go.
Yes,
Okay.
it's the runway. It's
But if you're stranded at home and you need to have some things with you,
right.
you can grab
It's in
that
there.
bag
Yeah.
at home. You
That's
don't know what if a tornado, you can't get out. What if flood, whatever, you can have that bag also
Exactly.
for a home.
That's right. That's right. Hosea 4:6 said, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge." So this is the time for us to get as much knowledge about end-time events and how we can take care of ourselves. It has been suggested that when you have food, chew it as slowly as you can. Keep it in your mouth as slow as you can. And what happens is the body uses it more efficiently when you chew it to a applesauce texture. I don't care if it's not applesauce, but just chew it so that it's so thin, and then you swallow it. The story was told of a man and his son who was stranded, and other people were didn't have food, but for some reason he knew to chew the food slowly. Well, long story short, the other people were suffering while he and his son was able to get through that situation until they were rescued, because he told his son, chew it slowly. Don't gulp it down. Just keep chewing it slowly. All right, let's get started. You are running for your life. You have your lumbar pack, which will be smaller than this, and we'll talk about that, or in your bag. Now, what does this contain? Now, I'm not going to go through this again, but I'm going to tell you what will be in the survival bag when it's going to be lighter than this. It contains a flashlight. It contains matches, a cup, first aid kit, gloves, water purification tablets, cording, a compass, a mirror, and a knife. In a survival situation, there are 3 basic things that you must have, and that is shelter, then water, then food. We need not be concerned about our shelter, because we are promised that Our food and water will be sure, and God will provide a place for us to stay. But here's a tip. When building a survival shelter, keep safety in mind. Think about where you're building and keep yourself safe. Stay calm, pray for God's help and protection, and take logical action instead of emotional mistakes. Let me say that again. Take logical action instead of emotional mistakes. There might be some water nearby. You say, oh, I'm going to build my shelter right over there. But then you have animals who come there to get water. And then you have the predators who come there who are after those little animals that come to get water. That's not a good spot. You want to build away from the water if you have to come to the water to get water. And you want to build against something. You want to build against a tree. You want to build against a boulder. Something that you can put leaves and things across it so that you'll be able to crawl in it and then put your straw, whatever, in it, down on it. But let me ask you a question. How many really are ready to sleep outside at night with bugs? I don't like bugs. But if you have to, and you don't want to compromise anything, you will do that, and God will give us what we need to do that. Everyone must decide for themselves. Okay, and the last part of our presentation will be on how to make an emergency camping cook stove. This is a new design that I came up with, putting several designs that I got from YouTube together. And so we're going to clear off this, and we're going to bring on how to make emergency camping cook stove. We can just put all this down here. Sister Griffin.
I have those cans. You need them?
Yes, I do need those. Yes, I do. These are some emergency cook stoves that I made recently. I made quite a few over the years, but I wanted to see how we could cut down on the labor for making these emergency cans, soda can stoves, so that it will be easy for people to do. First thing I'd like you to write down is 3 teaspoons is equal to 1 tablespoon. 3 teaspoons is equal to 1 tablespoon. Okay, yes. Would you give everyone cat food can and a soda can? Many varied videos on YouTube on how to make the soda can stoves. I came up with this one, and it is just made from 1 can. You have the kind that's called a penny can stove. You have the ones that have fuel that can be attached to the bottom of the stove, so it's a continual burn. But I found out that by using 1 can, I can make a soda can stove that actually works. So from the bottom of the can, you measure up 1 inch. 1 inch. This is 1 inch. And from the rim of the can is 1 and 1/4 inch. 1/4 inch here. From that, you're going to put 1 pinhole, or I use a thumbtack to put a hole in the can. You need that for air. Yes, at the top. Just one.
Cut the can.
Right, you cut it 1 inch down and 1 inch up. So using 1 can. And then you're putting the 2 pieces together. This little stove can, the stand, is in the camping section at Walmart. I made my own stand with a block of wood and 4 screws and Phillips screws. And then there are situations where you don't have this, you don't have this, but you have a heat sensitive stick, you have a plate. So we're gonna show you how to do that. Sister Phil, you give me some water in here, please. Thank you. Okay, let's demonstrate this can and let's boil some water. There are several types of fuel you can use. I prefer heat. You can use rubbing alcohol if it's 91%. 70% alcohol has too much water in it. I don't use that. And as a last result, you can use hand sanitizer for fuel.
We put that on our hands.
Cause it's got alcohol.
It has alcohol in it. Okay. And I just want to show you what I baked last. I'm not going to be able to do it today, but I actually baked this bread on my soda can stove last Sunday. I'm not going to touch it. I'm just going to open it and let you see it. And you can actually bake this. Pardon?
I bet you it's good.
Well, I hope it's good. Yes. But I baked this bread on the soda can stove, so that's my baked bread. Okay. Now let's get started. All right. I'm going to use my old-fashioned stand that I made. And what did we say? How many of these make a tablespoon?
3.
3 make a tablespoon. Before I do that, you can also make a stove that's easier to make with a cat can, food can. All right? You have the hole punches, okay? What you're gonna do is you're gonna take your hole punch. Everyone has these at home. And you're just going to punch holes around the edge of the can. And you will see this blossom out just like a gas stove when I light it. That's it. Go to the next area, which is a little bit under that one that you made, and punch holes until you go all the way around. You don't really have to do that. With the 4 holes there, you'll see how it will blossom out when you light it. Okay. You want to set it here?
You need all the holes around the top too.
You need all the holes around the top. You really don't need the second ring of holes, but you can put them in. Okay. I just want to show you this, but I already have this already poured out, and this is heat for fuel.
So that's the same thing,
It's just in the container, yes. And so I'm gonna put in 1 tablespoon, so there's 3 of these. You need a designated teaspoon so that you will not use this for anything in cooking. That's 3. I have to take a time for this. And next I have my water here. Never fill the stove up to the top. You don't want it up to the top. And another never leave it unattended. Did you hear that? It's going to blossom out, and eventually you're gonna see the blue flame come out from under there. You see it, it's kind of hard to see in the light, but in the dark, you can see it? Okay, all right. I wanted to be kind of creative and see what I could do with tea light candles. So this is a tea light candle stove that I made too. It's 3 tea lights, and let's see what this will do.
I got
Question?
question. You go first.
I guess my question was, there's nothing in here. Is it something I missed that part?
You punch holes around the top.
But that's it?
Yeah, you punch holes around the top.
See the one she got?
Yeah, I thought maybe she had put like a candle or something.
No.
Nothing.
No, if y'all need a lot of practice, just let me and my wife know. We got plenty of cat keys.
Your stuff. Did she tell you?
Okay, I got you.
Pour in there.
Okay.
Yes,
I got you.
so what she showed you was how to make it with the holes around
Okay.
it, and then she used the, heat that she has in the bottom
Gotcha.
for the fuel.
Yes, that's for the fuel. Yes. Okay, and so it's blossoming out. But this is the one that you use with the soda can. I don't think we have enough equipment to make everyone to make one, because once you cut that down, you have the little pink scissors. Okay. These scissors, you're gonna make crimps in this can. You're gonna crimp it all the way around like this.
Oh. Is that the soda can?
This is the soda can. I'm just waiting on this so you can see that flame. Is it blossoming out yet?
And you cut the top out your soda can too?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, I did tell you that. Yes, with a knife.
It's blossoming out too, it's coming out.
So it's easier to take like a cat can.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The cat can is an easier and quicker stove
Yeah,
than to score this all the way
Right.
around.
right.
So I want you to see how this could be made, and this one.
I see it, yeah. I see all the flavor.
Sure is.
You can hear it.
And you can see the steam.
Yes.
We can eat.
You
And
can
boil some water, take a bath.
some water.
You can boil some veggie dogs.
You can boil.
Vegetables.
You can make vegetables. So that is a quick way. So I know you would like, anyone who would like to make the regular soda can stove, that's fine. But I think the cat can stove
Oh,
is
yeah.
the quickest stove
That's
to
the
make.
way.
I remember we did the soda can.
We did the soda can in the
Yeah.
last, yes.
Oh, so you, by your doing your research, learned about using
Right,
the cat can.
the cat can, and I think that's crooked. Do you think you can use that hot water for anything?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Amen,
And
amen.
just a piece of wood and some nails.
That's it. And if you say, well, I don't have wood and nails, the cat can stove is a freestanding, it can be used freestanding. You don't need this, because once you get a little bit of air there, the blossoming is gonna come out. I don't know if it's hot, cool enough to touch. Yes, okay,
You just sit it on top.
you can just sit it on top of there.
So if you're outside and you just set it on the ground with a nice level area, you can set your can on the ground.
The cat can is a little bit wider.
This one is a little bit too small, but the size that you have probably would.
So Sister Knight, if we're outside and we have one of these in our to-go bag,
Yes,
right?
already made.
Already made, and we have some of the fuel in a little container in our to-go bag.
That's right.
We can just take our cat can that's already made, level it on the ground, put some of our fuel in there, make sure we got our matches in our to-go bag. We got a stove.
And you said tea lights, because we don't have all of that, but you got like candles.
You can
Or tea
use,
light.
you
Or
can use
tea
tea
light.
lights. I have, I've used tea lights
You said you
too.
can make a stove out of that?
Tea lights.
Yes.
The little
Would you
can.
like to see it in operation?
Yeah, I'd like
Yeah.
to see that.
Okay.
That's small.
Okay, we're gonna try the tea light, stove. I might need that water.
Oh, what's a tea light? Am I lost?
You know the little candles, the little,
You know, Dollar
things
Oh, you talking about the little
Dollar
candles?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
Is that it?
you call them tea lights?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they call them tea lights.
Okay, we're gonna try, this one. Ella wants to see how this operates. This is really, really, really light. And so
So that's the heat.
I'm just gonna drip this in.
That's the heat, right?
This is the heat.
So, there's no wax or anything in that, right?
No, no wax.
It's empty, it's
It's
an
empty.
empty tea light.
It's empty tea lights that I glue together, not glue together. I have high intensive tape on it all the way around so that it can take the heat. Okay? Let's see, and let's light it.
If you don't have a pan, then what would you use? Like, what would you?
If I don't have a pan,
Uh-huh.
then the
The
cup.
cup that she had.
Did you see the
Little
cup?
She won't cook. Remember the cup she took out her bag and it opened up and she said she could cook.
Oh,
and it didn't.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
So we go to our camping area and just buy one of them cups or something that you
Okay.
can put in your bag.
Okay, let's see.
Camping area,
Yeah, yeah.
Walmart, see what they have.
Yeah, and just make sure your cup is stainless steel. You can use,
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
you
I
bring
heard.
your cup, make sure it's stainless steel, you can cook it.
See, I can see, you can see it. You see it fly.
So let's say the power grid goes down and you have electric. I have all electric in my house, you know. So now you have a way to cook food, even bake bread. What I did to bake the bread was I made a bread with a one child. It's a children's recipe for making a one loaf of bread. And so with that, do I have the cookbook over there? I don't know. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Of these you may freely eat.
Yeah.
This book is written by, let's see, what is her name? Joanne Rakoff. As you can see, it's falling apart. But it's a really quick recipe that I use to make the bread. It's called Basic Whole Wheat Muffin Mix.
And what's the name of the book again?
Of these you may freely eat.
Yeah, we got that.
Yeah, I think you do.
Okay, it's on page 12. You'll find the basic whole wheat muffin mix. Let's see if this is still going. I think it's out. Okay. So from this recipe, you don't have to touch the flour. You don't have to knead the flour. It comes up in sort of like a pancake consistency. And what I did was, I got the pan, this is not my pan, the one I had at home, I got it really, really hot with no oil in it. And I put the dough in the pan, and after I put the dough in the pan, I let it alone, let it rise, because it does have yeast in it. And this one burned a little bit, but anyway. Then after it was in there for a while, it took 3 lights from a tea light stove to bake it. One thing you need to know is that when you're using any kind of stove like this, 3 drops of water will slow down the flame. So just 3 drops of water in the fuel will slow down the flame so it will burn slower. Don't put any more than 3 drops in, or the flame will, or the fuel will be competing with the water and you'll have a lot of fizzing. So just 3 drops of water. I'm going to try lighting this again, Sister Griffin.
So I have a question,
Yes, ma'am.
to make sure I understand this. I can take, cat.
Oh, it is burning. Do you all see that?
Yeah.
Burning good.
Yes, ma'am.
I can take a cat can that's already made with the holes around the top.
Right, you don't have, because you pop that lid off. You don't have to do this.
Yeah, you pop it off.
You don't have to score this
That's
out.
right. And you
Okay.
pop it off. So I can make a can with the holes around the edge of the lip of the can,
Yes.
cat can.
Yes.
And, if I have my heat, my fuel, that's all I need. That's all I would need in my to-go bag. Set it on the ground, pour my fuel in there,
Right,
and, the flames will come up,
right.
and I have a stove.
That's right.
Well, I'm sorry. How long would that last if you're heating, something that thin aluminum like that?
It will last.
It will.
It will. Now, this is a soda can. It has the aluminum in the soda can.
Yes, boy.
The aluminum in the soda can is not as heavy as the aluminum in the can, so it will last longer. And I have cooked on this. I have used this to cook, but I took the bottom of an ordinary soda can and I put the holes in here, so it will last longer.
I was gonna say, but just in case you don't have yours heat, you could just put pieces of, I'm saying you could just put pieces of wood in here too,
You certainly could.
and just light them.
Like the wood.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Just out there in the woods, you can just get pieces of wood.
Yes, you can use potatoes.
If you don't have the heat,
Yeah.
fuel, you can just use wood.
That's right.
You found it with the tea, what do they call tea kettles?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
You got to, people need to understand that you take the stuff out of the tea kettle to make a
Right.
tea stove, you gotta take that.
You gotta take the candles
Yeah,
right
scoop
out.
it.
You gotta take the wax out.
Right.
Okay.
And you just struck a match. I use them anyway, like, for potpourri things and stuff like that, so I just keep them and
Yeah.
Yes.
tape them. What kind of tape did you
That's
put on?
high intensity tape that I got. It's for mechanics who they're repairing a hole in the exhaust pipe of a car,
And then wrap it.
and I wrapped it in that
High intensity tape.
high intensity tape. Yes.
And you get that from Walmart too?
Uh,
Or like from
Auto store.
Auto
At
store.
auto store.
Okay.
Yes.
So I tell you, that is something that we wanna make sure we have in our bag.
Amen.
In our bag.
Yep, just,
Yeah.
can with, yeah.
Yeah. So, of course, we do have a supply of cat cans.
Yes.
Yeah, endless.
I will be collecting them now.
Oh, no. Please.
I will
Oh.
collecting them
You
so we
can
will have them.
always.
You just need a
share.
few of them.
You can just share.
Yes, I'm gonna collect and give it to people.
Share.
We'll collect and give it to people. That is called recycling. That
Yeah,
is.
cause I don't have cash, you can give me a couple
Oh,
of
yeah, I'm
them.
gonna give everybody some. Everybody will have cat cans. Amen. Praise God.
Y'all
in the
don't have
last-
to worry about buying no cat cans.
Yeah.
And the last part, I just want to read this to you. Remember, in the final time of trouble, we will have to endure rain, wind, heat, bugs, fatigue, sleeping on the ground or in a cave, no bathrooms, no showers, hunger, being thirsty, freezing, sweating, no internet, no phone. We threw that away. Why?
So they wouldn't be trying.
That's right. It's the best way the government can track you. Planes and helicopters can search for people with FLIR. That is forward-looking infrared. This is accomplished by the heat of the body. Red out cloth can stop detection if you can find some red out cloth. Red out cloth. That would probably be something you would get from a military store if they still have it. And then you can go into a ground or into a cave or underground. In this video from WRM, is this video, Flee as a bird to the mountain and fly for the Avenger is nearing. They tell you all about how to dig a scout pit. A scout pit is something you would dig and you would go down underground and you cannot dig it. There's enough air in there for you to survive. But this is a good video to use for reference. And also, I have on here some other materials that we use as references for this presentation from Testimony Press. All of these brochures are available from them. Just go to their website. And the main thing that I want to close out with is something from the little book, Steps to Christ. And this is what it says. We cannot but look forward to new perplexities in the coming conflict. But we may look on what is past as well as on what is to come and say, hitherto hath the Lord helped us. As our days, so shall our strength be. Deuteronomy 33:25. The trial will not exceed the strength that will be given us to bear it. Let us take up our work just where we find it, believing that whatever may come, strength proportionate to the trial will be given. Thank you.
Oh, I need to close up.
Yes.
Oh, we got questions.
Your question?
Okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry, go right ahead.
It's okay. I wanted to know when you said, I want to know how did the monkeys get the charcoal? If they even, they out there, how do they get the charcoal?
Probably from some, one who had had a fire.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's right, for the trees. What kind of trees do you use to, like, make the charcoal from? You said you made some from home?
Yes.
And what kind of trees you say you use to make the?
I had trees around my building where it was, oak, pine, but the suggested trees to use are bamboo and, we use eucalyptus if you have it in the area. But, I use just what I have, and I don't have it, I haven't had no effect from using the charcoal.
Oh, okay. I know they said coconut.
Coconut trees, but we don't have those trees here, so.
No, that like, well, that's right, if you was out in the woods, you wouldn't.
Any other questions?
Any other questions?
Yeah, no questions came. Yeah, what, anybody? Yeah.
Okay. I don't think we covered, the cambium layer, how you can get cambium. That's the peeling the bark from the tree.
No, that's
And,
good.
right under the bark of the tree is a
Couldn't find
thin
those.
yellow area of piece of bark, and you can peel it back. And it has nutrition in it that you can, use to, it's food.
Drink.
Me and my dad was digging a tree, and then the branch fell off, and then all the skin on the branch came off, and it was just like yellow and white.
Right, and that yellow and white that was under that, bark on the tree is called a cambium layer. American Indians lived on that when they couldn't get food, and they just peeled that cambium under the bark and they ate that. And so that is food that you can eat. There are also wild, herbs that you can eat too. That's out there in the woods that you use as food. We'll talk about that at another time.
So you don't always have to dry the concrete first, though. You can just use it. Do you have to dry it?
No, I've used it just as the leaf. I've just taken that leaf, pull it off, make a poultice of it, and lay it on the skin.
But do you have to, can you make the concrete not dry? Can you make the salve with the concrete not dry, or do you have to dry the concrete?
It works better if you
Dry it. Okay. 'Cause my concrete plant is just, tell you, it's just.
Okay. It's growing a lot.
Mm-hmm. And when I thought it was dead,
Yes.
but.
All right. Okay.
All right. Well, for everyone out there that, I pray that everyone has learned something from the presentations, the go bag and the comfrey and all the other helpful information that was given on the, charcoal. But I want everyone out there that's listening, that may look at the feed later on, that our contact information is those that can reach out to anyone here, reach out to myself. My email is abelcoy1012@yahoo.com. We have a YouTube channel. It's called Believers of Truth Free Seventh-day Adventist Church. You can search YouTube and you will see the other medical missionary workshops and different things that have been done. So anyone, our contact information and my number is, I'm not going to give out anybody else's number, I give out mine. It's 336-259-4997. And I thank everyone for taking the time out to listen. And these remedies, these items that have been shown can really help us in the time of trouble. In the time of trouble. And I also want to leave you with this. We've all heard of Obamacare. Well, we have Obiblecare. This is the Bible will give us every instruction we need for our well-being, and that's spiritually and for health. So I'll just close with that. Anyone wants to contact anything, any information, booklets, what have you that will show anybody needs steps to Christ or the cooking and the cooking information, just reach out and we'll be ready and more than willing to get it to you. Thank you. And I just want to have a word of closing prayer at this time. Let's bow our heads. Father in heaven, we thank you, Lord, for another day of life. Thank you for this blessing of this presentation. We thank you for the instructors. And as we were listening here physically and all those on the YouTube and also on the Facebook Live, I pray that this spreads out far and wide throughout this, not only this United States, but throughout this world. This information is something that is much needed. We pray, Lord, that we just seek out the benefits of natural remedies, natural healing, because we see that the world is going on a path that is not good for us, not only the physical health, but the spiritual health also. And Lord, we need to come back to your word and understand what it's telling us to do. And I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.